left all of my stuff at my studio, so I don't have music today. If there's anything that you want to put on for music for yourself, you can put it on, and then just put yourselves on mute, and we'll just get started because everyone's got things to do, and it's 7:30, and I'm sure you have to get ready for school, so we will just get everything started. We're gonna start just in a comfortable seat today. So sitting up nice and tall, maybe you sit crisscross applesauce, maybe you sit on your knees, whatever feels good for you. Closing the eyes, and then really start to activate the core. Let the crown of the head get really, really tall to the ceiling. And it's the morning, and so we are just gonna start today with really good intentions and really good positive vibes, right? Because we can create whatever we want in our lives. That is the power of the mind and our thought process. So whatever you want out of your day, maybe the rest of this week and your weekend, I want you to envision that now and set that as your intention today. And with every deep inhale in, breathe whatever that intention is. And then with every exhale out, let go of whatever might be preventing you from attaining that intention. 2 more big inhales in. Deep open mouth sigh exhales. 1 more inhale in. And long exhale out. Nice. And then just blink open the eyes. Make your way to your tabletop. Getting right into it this morning. Working through 3 rounds of cat-cow. So shoulders right over the wrists, knees and our hips width apart. On the inhale, drop the belly as you push the mat away, rounding, dropping the spine. And then exhale, push and curl like the cat as you drop the head. 2 more big inhales in. And deep exhales out. Last round of cat-cow, big inhales. And curl on the exhale. Nice, come back to that neutral tabletop. And then extend the right arm forward like you're shaking someone's hand. Left leg reaches back for your bird dog. Take a big inhale in. And then on the exhale, drive opposite knee to elbow. Push the mat away as you round into the spine. Inhale, everything reaches back up. Exhale, curl. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Nice, inhale, reach everything back out. Just let it hover. And then plant the palm and drop the knee. Setting up for the other side. Left arm reaches long. Right leg reaches back. Take a big inhale in. Exhale, push and curl in the spine, opposite knee to opposite elbow. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, curl. Last one, inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach everything back out, let it hover, hold. And then plant the left palm, tap that right knee. Walk your hands just a palm print in front of where they just were. Curl the toes, downward facing dog. Taking 3 rounds of breath here, maybe pedal out the feet, come back to that intention. Be really mindful of your breathing this morning. Getting any cricks or cracks out. And then coming to a little bit of stillness, feeling your heels begin to anchor towards the back of the mat. On your inhale, rise up to the tiptoes, roll forward to your first plank pose. Holding here for 3 big rounds of breath. Really actively pushing the mat away, everything's nice and fiery. Last big round of breath. Downward facing dog. Use the low belly, sending the hips all the way up and back. Maybe you paddle out the feet again. Whatever you need to feel good here. And then coming back to stillness. Rise up to the tiptoes. Inhale, come forward to another plank. Rock the weight so the shoulders are over those fingertips. And then option to tap the knees or leave them lifted, and then bend at the triceps to lower in one straight line, like an elevator all the way to the floor. Palms scrub back as you inhale to lift the chin, neck, and chest for the baby cobra. Exhale, let everything melt back to the floor. One more like that. Big inhale, baby cobra. Lift the chin, neck, and chest. Exhale, melt the heart. This time, inhale, lift the chin, neck, and chest. Option to just stay here, maybe float the palms by your torso, and then lift the legs for the locust. Holding for 3. Holding for 2. Last big inhale in. Exhale, let everything fall to the floor. Inhale, push up through a tabletop, and then just reset so your knees are right in line with the hips, palms underneath the shoulders. From here, curl the toes, hover in that tabletop. Knees are about 1 inch or 2 up off the floor, and then we're gonna take some shoulder taps. So right palm to left shoulder, left palm to right. Tapping right and left, right and left, for 4, for 3, last 2, and 1. Meet me back in that floating tabletop. Tap the knees, take a child's pose. Bringing the toes together, letting your hips come wide as you sink them back. Letting your breath even out that heart rate. Getting a nice big stretch in the shoulders. And then meeting me back in your downward facing dog. Take 1 round of breath. Big inhales in. And long exhales out. On your inhale, rise up to the tiptoes, bend those knees, gaze forward, and then walk the feet up. To meet your hands coming into your ragdoll pose, opposite hand finds opposite elbow crease. All of the weights towards the balls of the feet. As you let the torso get nice and heavy, maybe you rock side to side. Maybe you take a big bend to the knees, just let the torso hang out on the thighs, whatever feels really good for you. And then releasing your bind, walk your feet a little closer together. On your inhale, take your flat back, palms come to shins, knees, or thighs, Ardha Uttanasana. On the exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, take a gentle bend as you slowly roll up to come to stand for that mountain pose. Beautiful, reach your arms up overhead, big inhale in. Exhale, hinge and fold. Another long inhale, flat back, Ardha. And then take a forward fold. Bring the big toes together, silver gap for light between those heels, bend the knees, sink the hips. Inhale, first chair pose, nice and early, Utkatasana. Squeezing the inner thighs together. Nice, option to cactus the shoulders today. If you have any tension in the neck, it's early. Let it feel good for you as we begin to generate a little bit of heat, holding for 1 more round of breath. Taking another big inhale. On the exhale, forward fold over those legs. Big long inhale, milk that for the flat back. Plant your palms. Exhale, step the left leg back to your low runner's lunge. Drop that back left knee, unhook the toe, setting up for a twist this morning. So left palm comes to the mat or a block. Right palm comes to the low back. Big inhale, lengthen the spine, crown of the head towards the top of the mat. Exhale, twisting from the navel over to the right. Totally fine to stay here. Maybe you make this a bit more active this morning if that's what your body's craving. Curl the back left toes, lift the left knee. Option to reach the top arm high. I prefer to keep it on my back for my sacrum. Make sure everything's nice and flat and neutral, but you do what feels best for you. Big inhales as you lengthen. And then exhale, twisting out the spine, beginning to rinse out the internal organs. 1 more, big inhale in here. On your exhale, untwist back to that low runner's lunge. Remove your block. If you have your knee down, curl the back, left toes lift the knee. From here, right palm comes back to the low back, and then reach your left arm towards the top of the mat. So you're in this nice long extended lunge, holding for 3 big rounds of breath. Holding for 2 more rounds of breath. 1 final big inhale in. And then on your exhale, windmill open and rise up to the warrior 2. So widening your stance, opening up the hips. Gazing over the front fingertips, nice. Feeling an imaginary block in that front shin as you push the block against a wall, so you have this nice big bend to the front knee. And then from here, begin to extend to the front right leg, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, come back to your warrior 2. Inhale, reach everything up to straight. Exhale, warrior 2. Last time, inhale, straight. Exhale, warrior 2. Flip that front right palm. Reach a little forward. Inhale, reverse the triangle. So re-straighten into the front right leg. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands back to your low runner's lunge. Step yourself up to the top of the mat for the forward fold. On an inhale, flat back, Ardha. And then exhale, hinge and fold back over the legs. One last sun A, ground down, big inhale, reverse swan dive, reach everything up overhead, extend the mountain. Exhale to fold. Bring those big toes together, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. This time, exhale, take a T-twist, left arm comes forward, right arm comes back. Inhale, come back to center chair. Exhale, twist left, right arm reaches forward. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Long inhale, take the flat back. Exhale, plant the palm, step the right leg back to your low runner's lunge. Drop that back right knee, unhook the toes, setting up for your twist on the left. Right palm down to the mat or the block. Left palm to your low back. Inhale, lengthen the spine, then exhale, twisting from the navel to the left. Option to curl the toes, lift and hover that knee. Do what feels best for you this morning. It's nice and early. Make sure you're really pressing up into that right thigh bone if you lifted the knee so your hips stay nice and flat. Twisting only from the belly button all the way up to the heart. One more, big inhale in. Exhale, untwist. Meeting me back in that low runner's lunge. If your knee was down, curl the toes, lift the right knee. Left palm comes back to the low back. Reach your right arm forward towards the top of the mat. Holding for 2 more rounds of breath. Taking 1 more big inhale in. On your exhale, windmill and rise up to the warrior 2. Nice, getting really adjusted here. So feeling that front shin pressing up against that imaginary block into a wall. Hips open, heart open. And then on the next inhale, straighten into the front left leg as you reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, rebend, warrior 2. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. 2 more, inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, come back to the warrior 2. Flip the front left palm, reach forward, reverse the triangle. So straightening the front left leg as you reach everything up and back. Exhale, cartwheel your hands, meet me back in the low runner's lunge. This time, step yourself back to plank. Option to take your first vinyasa. So rock the shoulders over the fingertips, bend halfway, pause chaturanga if you choose, maybe you lower all the way. Big inhale for your upward facing dog. Or baby cobra. Nice. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath. Big inhales and let everything begin to settle. 1 more big inhale in. And long exhale out. On your inhale, rise up to the tiptoes, bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, hop, float to the top of your mat. Bring those big toes together. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, another chair pose, Utkatasana. This time coming into chair plank. So reach your arms back, rise up to the balls of the feet. Holding for 3. Holding for 2. You got this. Last one. Drop the heels, big inhale, keep your arms up overhead, chair pose. From here, hands come to prayer, setting up for warrior 3. So keep this right knee bent as you peel the left toes up off the floor and begin to hinge the torso forward as you kick that left leg back. Making sure that you're pressing up into that right thigh bone and hip as you rotate that left hip down. Finding somewhere on the floor to help you balance, really flex into the left foot. A little bit of a healthy challenge, you can reach your arms towards the top of the mat. And then take a really big bend to this front knee. Float yourself back to your high crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then just like we did with that warrior 2, first I want you to take a big bend into this back left knee. And then on your exhale, straighten into both legs. Inhale to bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. One more bend, big inhale in. Exhale, open up to your warrior 2. Straighten into the front right leg, flip the palm, big inhale, reverse the triangle. And then exhale, come into your full variation of triangle, reach your hips back, torso reaches forward. So you tick-tock your arms to 6 and 12. Option to stay right here. Healthy challenge today, maybe bring that bottom right palm up to your heart. Just testing the obliques a little bit. Holding for 2 more rounds of breath. Last big round of breath. Next inhale, come back to triangle, and then rebend into the warrior 2. Flip the front palm, reach forward, inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel your hands back to your low runner's lunge. This time, walk your palms in front of the right toes. Press up off the back toes for a standing split. Very briefly here, rolling that left hip back down. And then big bend to both knees. The left foot comes down to meet the right. Bring your big toes together, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Nice. Exhale, chair plane. Arms reach back, rise to the balls of the feet. Drop the heels, big inhale, chair. And then hands come to prayer, setting up for that warrior 3 on the left. So keep the left knee bent as you feel the right toes, the right leg into the torso forward. And then big bend to that left knee. Float yourself back to your crescent lunge. Nice. Take a big bend to that right knee. Let it hover off the floor. And then exhale, straighten into both legs. Inhale as you bend. Exhale, straighten. 2 more. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straight. Inhale, bend. Exhale, open up to that warrior 2. Straighten into the front left leg. Flip that palm. Big inhale, reverse your triangle. And then exhale, come into your full variation of triangle. Move your hips back. As you reach the torso forward, reach till you can tick-tock your arms to 6 and 12. Totally optional to stay here. Maybe you take the left palm and bring it to your heart. Keeping a tiny micro bend to the front left knee. Last round of breath. Next, inhale, ground down as the torso comes back to stand. Exhale, rebend to the warrior two. Flip that left palm, reach forward. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands back to your low runner's lunge. Palms walk just a handprint in front of the left toes. Come into standing split. Big bend to both knees. Right foot comes down to meet the left for the forward fold. Last one, A. Take a flat back. Big inhale in. And then exhale, forward fold. Reverse swan dive as you ground down. Extend the mountain. Big inhale in. And exhale to fold. Take another flat back, hard up. And then plant your palms. Step back to plank. Take a vinyasa of choice. Lowering halfway chaturanga or all the way. Inhaling for your upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhale for the downward facing dog. Last standing sequence. Bring the big toes together. Float that right leg up to the ceiling. And then rise up to the left toes. On the exhale, drive that right knee to your nose. For your core plank. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Step the foot in between your palms. For your low runner's lunge. Nice. Setting ourselves up for a half move. So maybe you grab a block 6 to 12 inches outside of the right pinky toes. Left palm comes to your hip. And then press up to stand up on that right foot as you revolve your hips open to the left. Left arm can reach nice and high. Flexing into that left foot again, making sure you're trying to kick the wall behind you. And then from here, rotate the left hip, rotate the left palm and your torso so you're back in your standing split, holding for 2 big rounds of breath. Last big round of breath. And then huge bend to both knees, meet me in your forward fold. Big toes come together, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, chair pose. Tritasana. This time, full twisting chair. So maybe you take the T-twist, like we did earlier in class, left arm forward, right arm back. Maybe the left palm comes to the outer edge of that right thigh, right palm to the low back, or you can take your prayer mat. Using whatever body part might be touching your thigh for a little bit of extra leverage to twist. 2 more, big inhales in. Twisting exhales out. Last one, big inhale in. Exhale, untwist, forward fold. Take a flat back, just neutralize that torso after the twist. Big inhale in. And then plant your palms on your exhale. Step your left leg back, again for your low runner's lunge. This time, walk that foot to the outer edge of your mat for your lizard. Palms come to the inside of the foot, maybe they come to blocks. Option to stay active here this morning, or tap that back left knee, drop the toes. Taking a little bit more of a passive stretch, whatever feels best for your hips. Two more rounds of breath wherever you are. Last big round of breath. Nice, and then from here, curl the back left toes. Lift that left knee. You can step directly back to plank if that feels good for you, or you walk the foot back to the center of the mat and then step back to plank, and then from here, setting up for a side plank. So right palm comes to the center of your mat as you revolve to the shoelace side of the right feet and open up to the left. Always the option to tap that knee down. Maybe you hover the top leg. Maybe you take a wild thing, whatever's in your practice, holding for one more round of breath. So, so strong. Meet me back in plank. Take a big inhale in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big toes come together, float the left leg to the ceiling, rise up to the right tiptoes. Exhale, drive that left knee to nose, core plank. Step the left foot in between your two palms, low runner's lunge. Beautiful. Setting yourself up for your half moon on the left. So maybe grabbing the block or just using your fingertips 6 to 12 inches outside of the left pinky toes. As you press up and revolve open to the right to stand. Really being mindful of kicking that leg behind you. And then begin to rotate your right hip down, right palm comes to the floor or your block, standing split on the left. One more inhale and big bend to both knees, forward fold on your exhale. Bring your big toes together, bend the knees, sink the hips, inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Last chair here, twist on your exhale over to the left, right arm reaches forward. Taking whatever variation on this side feels best for you and your body. Taking one more round of breath. Big inhale in. Exhale, untwist, forward fold. Big inhale, flat back, neutralize that torso. Plant your palms on your exhale, right leg steps back to your low runner's lunge. Setting up for your lizard on the left. So walking the left foot to the outer edge of the mat, tapping the back right knee, unhooking the toes. If that feels good for you, or you can stay a bit more active. Two more rounds of breath. Last big round of breath. And then from here, curling the back right toes, lifting the right knee. Maybe you step back to plank from lizard or bring the foot back to the center of the mat. And then set yourself up for your side plank. On the left, left palm comes to the center of your mat, revolving over to the knife edge side of the left foot to open up to the right. Option to always tap the knee. Two more big rounds of breath. You got this. Last big round of breath. Meet me back in your plank. Take a big inhale, option for a vinyasa. Or just meet me back in that downward facing dog. From here, making your way to a nice comfortable seat. Sitting on your bum with your legs out long in front of you. Feel free to remove any fleshy parts from underneath your sit bones. And then sit up nice and tall. Hug your right knee into your chest. Option to leave the foot to the inside of that left thigh, or you can cross it over to the outer edge of that left thigh, whatever feels best on your hips. And then reach your left arm up overhead, big inhale in. Right palm comes behind the low back as you twist on an exhale over to the right side of the room, taking the elbow to the thigh or the knee, letting your gaze move towards the back of your mat. Last round of breath. Inhale, come back to center, neutralize your torso. Release the right leg, re-straighten it, and then reach both arms up overhead, big inhale. Exhale, take a big forward fold, reaching your palms towards the feet and letting them land on the legs, wherever they may lie. Getting a big full backside stretch. Coming back to your breath, letting your heartbeat begin to really slow down as we come to the effortless side of our practice. Letting that intention come to the forefront again if it maybe slip towards the back of your brain. Breathing it in on every exhale, inhale, and letting the things go on your exhale. exhale that might be preventing you from attaining that intention. And then just plant your palms to the outer edge of your hips. Slowly roll up that torso back to a neutral spine. Hug the left knee into your chest. Option to just plant the sole of the foot to the inside of the right thigh or cross it over. Right arm reaches up on an inhale. Left palm comes behind the low back, and then twist on your exhale over to the left. Last big round of breath. Inhale, untwist, come back to center. Release the leg. And then just make your way down to the back, rolling one vertebra at a time, nice and slow. Setting up for the bridge, walking the feet close to the bum, palms down by your side. Maybe your fingertips just graze the heels. And then really press into the palms, anchoring to the heels as you slowly lift the hips up for your bridge pose. Two more rounds of breath. Last big round of breath. And on that exhale, same way we rose, one vertebra at a time. Just lower the hips, the torso back to the floor. Taking Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet come together, let your knees come out nice and wide, and then bring one hand to the navel and one hand to the heart. Grounding your energy back down to the floor and just maybe closing your eyes. Feeling your heart beating. Feeling all that good vibrational energy that you've created in the body. And knowing that that is the power of the mind. The literal translation of yoga is the modification of the mind. And so when we come to our mats and we're using it as a moving meditation, we're helping to flex the part of the brain that we're not always using on a day-to-day basis. Tapping into the deepest parts of our psyche. As we uncloud any judgments or any things that may be holding us back from attaining those things in our life, those intentions that we most desire. Optional to stay here in Supta Baddha Konasana. If you'd like to take your traditional Shavasana, you can close the knees gently like you're closing your very favorite book. Let your legs come down long as your arms come by your side. Let your feet flap open and just let yourself rest. Soaking up the last bit of good energy on your mat that you've created today so that you can take it with you, creating the life, the intentions that you want. And then begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, just begin to reawaken. Reaching your arms out behind you, take a full body stretch. And then hug those knees into your chest, give yourself a nice big juicy hug, rolling yourself into a little tiny ball, thanking yourself for taking these 30 minutes today out for you. And when you're ready, you can just rock and roll up the spine, meeting me one last time in a nice, comfortable, easy seated position. Drawing your hands to heart center and gently closing the eyes. We'll take one final deep round of breath today, soaking in those intentions on the inhale. Deep, deep inhales in. And then letting anything go we need to on that big, deep, long exhale. Drawing your hands to your third eye, your seat of intuition, all of the light within me bows and honors all of the light within you. Namaste.